Hey guys, it's Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here and you feel like subscribing, that would be a huge help. Thank you so much. You can give us a comment. This video is actually designed specifically so that people can give comments because I'm soliciting opinions. And so that would be awesome. And give us a thumbs up. And so what are we here to talk about today? What is the best decade in Hong Kong cinema? I ask myself this question a lot. I have asked this question on Instagram. I ask it to friends sometimes. It's something, I just love movies so much, and I love making lists, and I love discussing like movies, and so this is just something that I just naturally do. And so I thought it would be fun to bring it to the channel. So when I say best decade, I do not mean, this is where it gets tricky. And I actually ask myself this question about movies in general too. But today, if we're sticking to Hong Kong cinema, I'm not saying what 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, whatever. Because I think that really, I think I would argue, comes down to like when you came of age, what has nostalgia value for you, like and kind of like if you came of age in the 70s, you were watching the Shaw films and Bruce Lee and stuff, you're probably gonna say the 70s, and if you came of age in the 80s, you're watching Jackie and China Fat and John Woo and stuff like that, you're probably gonna say 80s, and then in the 90s, you know what I mean? So what I'm talking about is a 10-year span. Now, the thing that's important here to remember is that a 10-year span is actually on paper a 9-year span, right? So like whatever, 1991 to 2000 would be 10 years, right? Because 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 2000. So that actually kind of makes this more complicated, because if you had 11 years and you could cheat it like whatever, 75 to 85 or something, it might be easier. So for me, there are two very obvious answers to this question, but it's very hard for me to pick. If I had to pick one, it's very difficult. So the one that occurred to me first, and the one that I think is the answer I get the most when I ask people this question. It's not like the overwhelming majority, but it's definitely the majority of people respond with this, is 85 to 94. In 85, you get Police Story, you get My Lucky Stars, you get Twinkle Twinkle Lucky Stars, and that's just Jackie Chan, right? And then in 94, you have Fist of Legend, and you have Drunken Master 2, and you have Love on Delivery, the Stephen Chow film, and you have two Wong Kar-wai films, Ashes of Time and Chungking Express, and a bunch of other kind of like classic 90s Hong Kong movies. So, and then you get all the classic stuff that comes in between those, right? So like all the John Woo films, and all those classic Chow Yun-fat films, all the Ringo Lam stuff, a lot of great Choi Hark stuff, a lot of great Jet Li stuff, with Once Upon a Time in China and the Fong Sayuk movies. And like Tai Chi Master and all that stuff. So, and then a lot of the comedies too, right? But when I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, 1983 is Project A and it's Winners and Sinners. And if you know me and you watch the channel, you know those are two of my favorite 80s Hong Kong movies, two of my favorite Jackie Chan movies. But if you go back to 83, you also get, I would argue, better Shaw Brothers movies. And I don't think that I could pick a 10-year span in the history of Hong Kong cinema as like, and the reason I ask this is like, let's imagine you're going to a desert island and you only get movies from that span. I don't think I could pick a span without some classic Shaw Brothers movies in there, because that's such an essential part of Hong Kong cinema to me. So I actually wrote down some stuff from 83 and 84 that you'd be missing out on if you started your 10-year span at 1985. 8 Diagram Pole Fighter, On the Wrong Track, which is an Andy Lau film that I reviewed recently. The review is not up yet, but I watched that movie recently. I loved it. The review should hopefully go up soon, which is actually not, it's not like a period Shaw Brothers film. It's like contemporary, like set in the 80s Shaw Brothers film, but it is a Shaw Brothers film. Little Dragon Maiden, which is completely insane. That movie blew my mind. I'm like, what is going on? There's a giant bird that's like taking care of a human. If you've seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. And it is like insane. It's like, what drugs were they doing when they made this movie, and where can I get some? Lady Assassin, Bastard Swordsman, Shaolin Prince, Seating of a Ghost. I think Boxer's Omen came out in 83. So you get a lot of really good stuff. And then 84, you get Love in a Fallen City, which is a really classic movie. The Wits of Bratz, Opium and the Kung Fu Master was also 1984. But to go back to 93, because you'd be 80, if you did 83, it'd be 83 to 92, right? And you would still get Super Cop and like a lot of really, really good stuff that came out in the early 90s. But here's what's in 93 that you would be missing out on if you went back to 83. The Barefoot Kid, Bride with the White Hair, City Hunter, Crime Story, Butterfly and Sword, Untold Story, Fong Sayuk 1 and 2, Heroic Trio, Run and Kill, Tai Chi Master, like. And I, as a huge Jackie Chan fan, and also as a big Shaw Brothers fan, I don't know if I could sacrifice Project. Just talking about Jackie, I don't think I could sacrifice Project A and Winners and Sinners to get those. Now, potentially my favorite of all time Jackie Chan movie, like right up there, neck and neck with just one or two others, you'll know if you watch this channel, is Wheels on Meals, which came out in '84. So if I went all the way to '94, I would miss Wheels on Meals, and I can't do that. I just couldn't do it. So I could do '84 to '93. But I really want Winners and Sinners and Project A. So if someone like put a gun to my head and was like, you had to pick right now, I would pick '83 to '92 because of those Jackie movies and because of the extra Shaw stuff that you would get. But I totally understand people who do '85 to '94 or any other span. Really, obviously, is totally subjective. But I'm really interested in what other people would pick and why. So in the comments section, let me know, what is your ideal, perfect, best 10-year span in the history of Hong Kong cinema. And I guess you could pick a decade. You do like 80 to 89 or something like that. And then why? List the movies, list the reasons, list your, personal connection to them and stuff like that. So my name is Will. It's Hong Kong Cinema Appreciation Society. It's just a silly video of me talking about something I think about a lot on my own. Like I said, I've asked on Instagram before. So yeah, let me know. We'll see you next time.